All right, ladies and gentlemen, next up we have the CEO of Hut Media Group, Olivier Burlot, CEO of DFW Creative, Charina, and the representative of Mediacorp Social Media Creative Studio, Bloomr SG, something that everyone is quite familiar with, Diogo, to share with us more about the necessity to build a win-win relationship. All right, let's put our heads together to invite our speakers. Let's see. Okay, we have to hold on for a little bit, yeah? Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, hello there. Hi, Charina. And allow me to recognize some faces over here. We have Olivier, hello. And then, okay, hello, welcome and joining us in the Influence Marketing Conference 2023. Shall we say hello to our audience over here? Starting from
Charina.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming here. Actually, listening to us probably the least entertaining, but I promise you it's going to be pretty insightful. Thank you so much.
Okay, say hello to our audience over here, Diogo.
Hi everyone, afternoon. I'm Diogo. I work at Bloomr at Mediacorp. Let's have a great conversation.
Okay, and Olivier.
Hi guys, I'm Olivier. I'm I think the only French guy in the room today. I've been working in media since the last 20 years, from Elle to L'Officiel to Grazia to Men's Folio to different media. Today, Hard Media, we are in Singapore. Many of you know Men's Folio, L'Officiel, Grazia. We also do yachts, we also do watches. And today, the focus is ready to make sure that you see media as friends.
Nice, we see media as friends. I think that's very important because our topic today is about, not only today, I think I.CON is about media. So we have friends from media here as well. We have influencers, please make some noise. Oh, ooh, it's okay, I have judgy friends over there. Okay, so it's about media and influencers. Now the problem is, how should they come together to build a win-win relationship? What do you think? How should media and influencers work together to flourish?
I would pass the mic first to the media owner and then come to the agency's part.
Sure.
So as media owner, and I think in your bag you have a few of our media, basically our team are always on the lookout for new influencers. We focus on fashion, we focus on watches, and we're always on the lookout for rising influencers. And I think our role when meeting brands, we are working with around 400 brands on a monthly basis. Our role as media is really to tell the brands that there are some exciting new influencers on the market. So I've been in Singapore since 2012, sorry. My mistake. I've been in Singapore since 2012, 2013. And for instance, we started working with a lady called Yo-Yo Chow, who you know as Yo-Yo Kulala. And Yo-Yo Kulala, Yo-Yo Chow in 2012, 2013 was really just starting. And we saw the potential. We saw that she's not super tall. She's not your Hollywood kind of beauty, but she's someone smart. She's someone who understands fashion, accessories, and we push her to brands. We started working with Lawrence Wong back in 2012, and Lawrence Wong was just starting, and we could feel that Lawrence Wong was someone who had also the potential to really become an influencer. So I would say as media, and I can tell there are a lot of young influencers amongst you, as media, we are here to really provide names, to provide credentials to brands, because the brands today are becoming very careful about not taking too much risk. The HQ in Paris, in Milan, in London is watching over them. If they take risk, if the influencer is the wrong one, then they're getting a lot of issues. So our role is to be a bit of a buffer between the brands and the influencer. So media as friends.
Media as friends, another key takeaway tagline, media as friends. Cool. I think it's really, really nice that you know the media is trying to close the gap for influencers in a way where they recognizes the skills or something that the niche of this particular influencer and make them flourish in that way and not create something that's not themselves. Right, for the marketing side, how do you think the media and influencers can flourish together?
In summarize, short one sentence is that they do need each other. So the media will be able to elevate the branding of the influencer in another level, legitimate in a sense to give them an additional branding that they are trusted, they are at a certain level of influencer, because every influencers, when they are up there, they start from nano, right? They start from nano, micro, macro, and then they become the mega influencer.
That's right.
So during those steps, you need to have a lot of support from agencies like us. For example, we have clienteles from our L'Oreal Group, automotive industry. Given that as the agency's role is to select the right influencers using the right tools, giving the right insights to the brand, the moment we pick the influencers, they must be the right one. Or, of course, there is some errors along the way, but you minimize for the brand. But the moment influencers have that appointed by the agencies to work with the brand, it's almost the same as you're legitimating their level of influencer, right? So media has definitely an important role for that. Vice versa, the media will also need, like an agency, we need more and more influencers, because I believe it's not like last time where we only work with one mega influencers. Now the strategy for our agencies and many brands out there, usually we will propose to work with several selected mega and then many of the nano, right, the upcoming ones, because many of them thinks that their outreach are genuine, right? They are maybe smaller, but direct to their friends, direct to their families, which is basically direct target audience. So given that both strength is actually how they can combine that and give the best results to the audience and to the brands.
Nice. So talking about errors earlier on, right? Errors in the sense where you're working with influencer and marketing clients. Have you guys ever faced any challenges on, maintaining a positive and healthy relationship between influencers and media? Was there any challenges before?
Yes, I mean, percentage. I can't say percentage-wise because some influencers are really hard to work with, and you guys know what I'm talking about. These are like, as an agency, honestly, we categorize them as the snob circle, right? We work with these people that, we like because they are from outside, they look really nice. Their posts, really engaging, a lot of comments. Yep, they fall into this category that's suitable for the clients. But the moment we work with them, and then we experience difficulties, slow in replying, because this is work. This is not, this is an actual work that we need to deliver. There is KPI, there is dates. Therefore, brands still need agencies because we are like the gatekeeper to make sure that everything runs smoothly. So when we pick the influencers to work with, we are responsible on these dates, the campaigns, the hashtags that we promised. So many of them say yes because of the dollars that they see. Towards the end, they didn't deliver what was promised. Many of them. And those will fall under failed to deliver category. We are not going back to them. And we were very strict on this. Once they did not deliver, this is integrity, means they do not have integrity. Unfortunately, we need to swipe next.
Interesting. There's a very serious topic over here. Diogo, what about you over there at Bloomr? Any challenges in maintaining a healthy relationship? And how do we actually resolve that?
I'm a pretty open-minded guy.
Yeah.
Right? So I need to strike relationships with everyone, even people I hate, right? So that comes with the job, part of the job. I need to figure out the best way that I can deliver with working with anyone and everyone that I have to work with. Like, we're Mediacorp, we don't have preferences, we can't have preferences. So the logic is always that we need to figure out the best way to work with anyone and everyone that we can bring forward. Sometimes with influencers that do not deliver, sometimes with snobs, right? But we have to. So if we want to deliver the best to our capabilities, a lot of the times we have to jump in
That's
to
right.
fix the issues, right? As a media provider, as a content creator, that comes with the job. Like I have people here from my team that do it all the time. So the logic is always, even if it's a problem, we need to fix it, right? And that's also the mentality that we try to breed across the network of creators that we have,
Yes.
which is they need to understand that they're working in an industry, even if they're just influencers, if they're content creators, they're service providers, right? If you go to a restaurant, you eat bad food, you won't go again. The same way as an agency goes to you, you give bad service, they won't go back to you. So that's fundamentally a lot of the stuff that we do with the creators that come to us, that want to collaborate with us and want to learn from us.
That's right. I think what we're doing right here is also not just about speaking ill of people who don't deliver or something. We're talking about a serious topic on how media and an influencer can work better together. And I think Diogo answered one of my next question, which is, I wanted to ask, in one sentence, what would you advise influencers to do so that they can work better with you? Olivier is feeling it.
No. I mean, we have experience daily with influencers. Someone like Widjaja, she comes, she's super professional. Sometimes we have new influencers, younger, that we basically have to prep, I'll just give you one example. I've been friends with Lokinyu, the guy playing badminton, for the past 5 years. 5 years ago, nobody knows Lokinyu. And Kinyu is a very humble guy. He was born in Penang. He came to Singapore. He was brilliant. He's brilliant. He became #1 in the world. And he had 6,000 followers on IG. That's around 2-3 years ago. But we felt the guy has really the presence. He has the charisma. He needed to be prepped. If he was here, he would say this is his best cover. But we basically had him on Men's Folio in May 2022. We bought Ralph Lauren. Ralph Lauren is very careful about who they are working with, but we told them, trust us, this is going to be an amazing guy. And we basically had a cover with Kinyu, and it was one of his first job. Today, Kinyu is a real influencer. He even goes with that green logo brand that delivers stuff and has. But anyway, what I'm just saying is, on our side as media, we provide credibility, we provide creativity, we provide guidance. So many influencers sometimes see the media as the old world. These guys are from the 19th century, 20th century, we are the new world. Actually, like Charina was saying, really media provides credibility, and someone like Kinyu, who was not having brands working with him, he worked with us, he got this amazing cover, he's shooting, he was wearing Gucci, and suddenly he told me, Olivier, I got so many brands calling me. No, I don't say that we are the miracle people, but like Charina was saying, and I'm sure that in Mediacorp suddenly you can also have people who really are revealed. And today amongst you, there are some people who just need to be revealed. I don't say you're going to have a cover ASAP in some of the magazines in Singapore, but we can really, as media, provide a good platform. So my little conclusion about that is, don't hesitate to go to parties. Don't hesitate to meet fashion people, stylists. Don't hesitate. My team said, Olivier, just tell everybody we are open. Well, a bit less than
Media
Mediacorp.
as friends,
A bit
is
less
it?
than Mediacorp. A bit
Door,
more
the
niche.
door is open. So on my end, actually, we enjoy work with influencers a lot. You know, we are learning from them as well as the agencies, because they are super creative. They can create something that is really not the traditional way in capturing attention from audience, or from, we call them the IG scroller, right? So they just keep on scrolling, but a lot of influencers are able to create such content that it stops you from scrolling. So we kind of learn from them as well, creativity-wise. Whilst on our end, we are actually working with the brands, again, like our clients. When we pick the influencers, same thing, they kind of become like, for example, the squad of whatever brand, right? So it is already another elevation for the influencers in the first place to be selected working with brands. But how do they improve though? I feel is that first, always be humble. I think that is across as the agencies, as the media, as the influencers themselves. And I agree, be friends with everybody in a sense to keep a healthy, harmonious relationship with all parties. But also be more aggressive. I think this is very important because especially if you're a newcomer into the
To
industry.
want something enough.
Exactly. That hunger shows when you speak to agencies, when you speak to brands. I have a very good example, Daryl Aiden, right? So he had some issues before on the editing and so on, and then he came back to prove his worth in the sense that I'm staying and I'm honest, right? So we work with him, we talk to him, sit down one-to-one actually, and hear him out his side of the story. And we thought, okay, perfect, let's work for Shiseido project. So ever since that, he's so humble, so hardworking, and really good photography and content that he created. It really captures attention of the audience. And from there, he keep on confirming a lot of brands, right? But the first door opened was that project, a comeback project for him. That's all he needs, right? And onwards, he just so hardworking in delivering on time, on target, beautiful pictures, tick all of the boxes.
I think this is a calling to our friends, our influencer friends who has actually made a mistake before. It's not too late to change. What about you, Diego, over there? Have you faced something similar before?
As in a KOL that had a problem that had to fix it, or advice that we give them to try to fix it?
Anything?
We've had several, not just a few, right? To my point before, we work with everyone, so when we're bringing them either to work as connected to content that's made for TV, for radio, for social, whatever it is, there's always a breathing period where we need to make sure that the narrative dies a little bit down, and then of course the company starts rebuilding them to what the market needs, right? But from the influencer perspective, they will feel that the world is unfair, that everything is against them, right? So our job is just to try to figure out the best way that we can deal with the human behind the mask, right? And try to figure out the best way that they can push forward.
Cool. Okay. Now I have another question. Okay. On behalf of friends who probably want to start being a creator, aspiring to be influencers, especially people of the younger generation. I'm a teacher myself, and I've heard stories of how primary school students, secondary school students, or even preschool students, when you ask them, like, what do you aspire to be in the future? I want to be a YouTuber, or something along that line, because they don't know that influencers exist, like this term. So like, I want to be a YouTuber. So of course we have teenagers as well, for people who aspire to be content creators. What do you think is the convenience that of working with media agencies or marketing agencies? Because I think to them, it's kind of unreachable. They probably will feel a little unreachable, because I used to feel that way as well. And especially with the convenience of using TikTok, YouTube, it's a very convenient way to do this in front of the camera, and if people engage me on a freelance basis, okay, I think that's okay. But what do you think, in what ways can media and influencer benefit from this collaboration together?
I will give you one example. Is not always numbers, and here sometimes people are a bit obsessed with numbers. How many followers my neighbor has versus my other neighbors, and why do I? Frankly, I was having a talk with our team, and they were like, Olivier, is not about numbers. It's really more about engagement and what kind of audience you have been creating, and I'm sure you have the same in Mediacorp. On our side, one example, Meitan is an influencer. We work a lot, and we've been working with Meitan for the past 5 years, 6 years. Why? Because the engagement she has with her audience is way more amazing than some other people who have double or triple the number of followers. And the brands are not stupid. We work with Fendi, with Tiffany, with Meitan. Tiffany is like looking at the engagement, and you cannot fake it. You could fake it 10 years ago. There were some scandals in Singapore, but today Singapore is too small to fake it. And basically, on our side, we like people who really have engagement, are also humble. I agree with you.
Yes.
And Meitan is
That's
this kind of
important.
professional and humble and big engagement.
I think as an agency, we are no longer searching influencers based on, like, you know, who is the hottest influencers in Singapore or wherever. We work with global influencers, for example. Even people that are not staying in Singapore have the engagement with the Singaporeans and with the target audience. So we use tools. Kobe is one, right? So they are tools that is useful for agencies like us. We use our own tools to actually search for the right influencers, what is their engagement rate. So a lot of technology support, unfortunately, can't fake it, it's true. Or industry is very small, after first engagement, there won't be the second one, right? So benefit-wise, I feel is that on the media influencers or agencies and influencers is that to come together, create campaign without giving too much boundaries on creativity. Sometimes they probably have a better ideas than the agency, but we need to meet the right objectives and give a very clear brief and KPI of what we want to achieve for the brand. Because eventually, if you achieve that KPI, everyone is happy, right? So along the way, that process is important to be discussed between media or between agencies and influencers to address the paying master.
And what about you, Diogo, over there? What are the benefits to, you know, marrying media and influencer for aspiring creators? Since I can do it at home freely.
Bear in mind that I come from a side of the business where I am literally teaching 18-year-old kids how to focus a camera to then produce content eventually at 23, 24, 27 that gets the interest of clients and agencies and everyone else. So I think the benefit is being open to collaboration, which tends to not be something that's easy in Singapore. Everyone is like either faking that they're competing with other people or hiding that they're competing with other people. And they're not honest about it, which is immediately seen through conversations, right? And a big issue that I personally have is an industry does not grow if people do not collaborate. And we tend to hit stagnation points on a regular basis when, like Olivier mentions, we get crisis points where people start to take advantage of the system, where they buy followers, they buy engagement, they buy whatever it is, right? And then the media industry needs to figure out the best way to respond to that. Right? So, which goes back to my point before, which is we tend to forget that there are humans behind the content that's being produced, right? And humans always have incentives to game the system. So a big part of what we do and a big benefit that you will have with working with the media industry is figuring out what those incentives are and not to break them, right? Not to try to take advantage of them, but to work with the system to learn how to do it. This can be learning that engagement is important for agencies and then trying to figure out strategies to increase engagement on your content. From my side of things would be, how do you make content that I can actually monetize, right? Which is a pain in my ass, to be honest, because a lot of people think that being an influencer is holding a brand, right? And then just getting that type of exposure, and actually making content that people engage with is complicated. And the next step would be, okay, so now that I've learned how to work with a media agency or with a media company, what's my price point? Should I be taking advantage of the market? If a lot of brands are coming to me, should I be increasing my value just because they're coming to me, right? And that takes a lot of education, right? So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So just being open to that type of conversation would give you a lot of benefit in the industry.
Thank you so much. Yes.
I agree on the KPI, and I think the influencer scene, people think it's a beautiful scene with a lot of lights and glamour, but we see brands and agencies becoming more and more tough on numbers. And we also see some influencers who love to go in Bali, who love to go to Phuket, Koh Samui, and who don't realize that behind, they need to deliver. So you were asking media influencers, love-hate relationship. frankly, there needs to be love, because at the end of the day, we do some campaigns with influencers and we take the stress out them by basically doing the job of making sure that we can boost, whether the IG, we can boost the video, we can boost the article on the website, which is another boosting message from the IG. So all this needs a team. And some influencers come to us and say, wow, you have a team of so many guys to just basically make sure that we are reaching the KPIs. And I say, yes. And it's not easy. So do your job great, be creative, be humble. But we can really, as media, and I'm sure the Mediacorp has a huge team for that, just reaching KPIs. You don't reach a KPI with Mediacorp, with a Mediacom or Publicis or Havas or all these big agencies. They don't talk to you anymore. So it sounds easy to be influencer. It is not. Today, it's getting more and more complicated. We just did a campaign with Chanel. We had 6 influencers. And the 6 influencers said, we are so happy that you are the one dealing with Chanel and their agency to reach the KPIs.
The person to go to if you want to collaborate with Chanel? Zaki, feeling it?
Not easy, not easy.
Of course, luxury brand, right? Okay, I think Olivier has kind of answered my next question as well, but here is to Charina and Diogo also. How has collaborations evolved throughout the years with media and influencers to you?
How it has evolved. So
maybe in terms of expectations, details, campaign requirements, so that we are up to the game when we want to pitch ourselves to you.
Not sure on the media side, but on the agency side, which I believe it's the same, we are very systematic. We have, it may sound like we are talking to you, chatting with you, what is the result and all this, but we have system, which I believe influencers now are smartest, thanks to softwares out there like Canva on editing, they're like even as simple as Google Sheets or even Monday, right? So get your, this is, of course we work with many different influencers. You can tell one is super creative, totally not systematic. The other one is like more systematic. They have like steps, what to do. There's report and progress, for example. So we do have that steps on the reporting, often meeting, for example. So the communications in between, not only when we give the brief, but that communication process is very important for us to make sure that we minimize mistake, right? KPI hit or don't hit, that is actually depending on the process, because you may think that this campaign will work better with this content, but towards the end, oh, actually it doesn't really work that way. So we need to improvise along the way to make sure that we reach till the end. But then, I'm not trying to say that it's actually very stressful, because it's not. I feel that we are having so much fun. My team is having so much fun whenever we work with the influencers or with the brand. I think not forgetting the soul of the project is very important, so that you know what you're doing and still having fun with it. You don't want it to be so stressed out in doing content, because it's not going to end up good. Because that, again, back to the harmonious communications with all parties is important. And to keep that positive environment is equally important. Yeah.
I think you make a very, very important point over there, being systematic. I think we as talents, entertainers, creators, influencers, it's very easy for us to actually overlook that, because a lot of times we communicate through WhatsApp. And it's so casual that I believe, okay, some of us tend to forget the importance of being systematic or being responsible enough to keep up to track on what we're actually working on as well. Cool. I hope you guys have learned this lesson. I think it's a very good calling. Okay, now I have a last question for you guys, for the 3 of you over here. Do you think that agencies are a must-have or good to have in an influencer campaign? And how can brands work with influencers more effectively through agencies? Okay, it's quite a big question over there. Maybe I'll just...
Okay, I think speaking on behalf for all of the agencies, I would say depending on the brand, there are many brands out there that they just go direct to the influencers, right? Nothing wrong with that. It's just that means that you need more people to work on the campaign, to monitor the campaign. Either you do it yourself or you get the agency to do it for you. We assist you in identifying which influencers is the right one for your campaign. For example, we systemize the communication so that the reporting gets easier for you to report to your higher management, for example. And we monitor the postings. You know, we basically have our checklist whenever there is a campaign ongoing. And whenever things are not right, we are there to advise the clients, for example, okay, the result is not as fantastic. I think we need to do something, right? And what is that something? We don't just identify. We identify and we come up with solutions immediately to address how do we get there, right? How do we get to the end point that we want? So having an agency, meaning you have pool of creative and team behind your back to ensure you reach your KPI, rather than you need to hire 10 people to make it work, you know, so your call, in a sense.
Anything to add on, Diogo, Olivier? Is it a must-have? Good to have.
Seeing it from a brand's perspective, having an agency is like jumping off a plane with a second parachute, knowing that the first one might fail, right? A lot of people want to be adventurous and jump off the plane with a single parachute or without a parachute and then are surprised if they splat on the floor. I think brands that know how to really work with agencies can get the best out of the relationship and the relationship with the influencers, especially. The ones that don't are then surprised that their campaigns fail. And then their thinking is, oh, let me pump more money or get different influencers instead of actually solving the problem, right? The media industry is very simple. It's a relationship game. If you don't want to play their game, don't be surprised if people just start to push you off the board. So, like with every other part or component of the game, you need to learn how to play with all the pieces in the board. Agency is one of them, right? Creators, influencers are another one. Media companies, media publishers are a part of it, right? People want to see or think that with AI and everything is going to be fixed. If I get a press a button in a system that's automated that can pay my influencer for the content that they have, yeah, that works very fine if the campaign goes without any problems. Like if there's a snag in the machine, who's going to fix it? Probably the agency, right? They're the first ones in line to jump into the bullet, right? So I think it's just that, is learning how to communicate and talk to the agency and understanding their value in the industry.
And you, Olivier?
Well, I think today in this world where privacy is important, where image is important, the brands need to be working very closely with the agency. The latest example is Balenciaga disaster a few weeks ago, a month ago, where basically the agency was briefed or not briefed, but went very far into kids wearing SM. And basically, it was a total disaster. So, I mean, agencies are important. At the same time, the briefing, the pitch is so important. And I think today we have to be double careful about everything we produce. So as media owners, we also prefer to have an agency in the between so that basically everything has been well digested. As influencer, you don't want to be caught in the middle of this kind of a fight because you are wearing the wrong clothes at the wrong time with the wrong image. So I would advise today to have agencies who are well briefed because it's getting complicated. 12 years ago, nobody would have cared about the Balenciaga campaign. Today, in 2023, it went viral, it went global, it's so bad for the brand. So just double careful, and agencies are needed.
That's right. I think...
If I may add, right? It's
Sure.
not, the role is not to always benefit the clients, it's never that. It's to strike that balance, to also stand for the influencers when some clients are so pressing. And sometimes it's unfair to the individual. Imagine if that person is not represented by anybody, they're gonna get squeezed. They're gonna get squeezed. That's where the agency stands, in between when it's fair for the influencers and when we have to be the one responsible on behalf of the influencers to reach the KPI that we were briefed and we promised for. So again, that's like making it into a full circle.
I think the answer is it's advisable to have agencies working with you guys. And definitely, I believe you're all happy and very, very thankful that we have professionals like you guys standing in to protect influencers and clients alike. Thank you so much. Okay, I think the entire takeaway, I think we learn is cultivate good working ethics and attitude, and to constantly engage yourself. Right. Anything else that you guys like to add on?
I think it's conclusion. On my side, my team, we had a meeting yesterday about this event, and they were saying the TikTok effect is really today to be more and more real as influencers. So 10 years ago, you can have a very stiff influencer. Today, you have to be more real. A bit of humor. Don't take it super seriously like you are the star, and a bit of humor. And there are some influencers in Singapore who do it very well. Then sustainability. Don't always shop when you're in Singapore, brands which are in Canada or in Australia and basically are so far away to bring to Singapore. So we are seeing some sustainability or fast fashion issues, and this is something which is growing. So just as influencers, be careful of that, because very quickly you can also get burned with that. Yeah, so on our side, again, my team said, meet our teams in events, in parties, contact us, find us on social media. Don't be afraid of media. We're actually more on the ally side than on the enemy side.
I agree. The door is open for working with us because we work with many brands as well. So any influencers who wants to work with us, we have them in the list. We categorize them based on what category, what kind of content that they create, and we will propose this list of influencers to the brands that we felt suitable. So feel free to contact us at DFW Creative, social media, and so on. It's never hard to reach. It's just whether you are resourceful enough to reach to us.
Great, I've learned a great lesson. I hope you have as well. Media as friends, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us this afternoon. Thank you to Olivier,
Thank you so
Charina,
much.
and
Thank you.
Diogo.